never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in.
Oh my goodness, I have got the real life Brad Burton live on my show. Brad, how are you doing, buddy?
Ashley, I am kicking ass as you'd expect, my friend. We are straight off from that amazing Accountex, and straight off from that session that you came over to my place and you worked with me. We'd say 15 minutes. It wasn't. It was an hour and 15, and you gave me some amazing tips. So thank you. Great to see you again, pal.
Yeah, and you too. We did have lunch as well, so it was always going to take longer than 15 minutes, eh?
But the training that you give me was invaluable. But listen, it isn't about you. It's about me. Go on.
I am loving your background. So what is all that behind you, sir?
Yeah, these are my books. I've written 4 books. 7 years ago was the last time I wrote a book, which was this, 2016. 7 years ago, I actually had book 5 on my thing here. Ashley, would you like a copy, my friend?
I would love a copy of Now What? Yeah, that would be great.
Here you go, champ. Bosh.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look at that. Hey, that is awesome. Thank you. Oh, mate. and you've signed it. You're a superstar, mate. Mate.
Go on. Actually, you didn't be yours, mate. Last time I was at.
There you go. There you go. There's a book for you.
This is amazing. Brilliant. Not set up whatsoever.
No, not at all. We didn't practice that for 3 hours. But anyway, those I don't know if you know this, but there are actually a few people that don't know who you are. So please tell us a little bit about yourself, Brad.
Actually, which version do you want? Do you want Brad Burton, the guy whose dad left when I was 6 months old, who left school with no qualification, moved 14 times from the age of 8 to 14, got shot at when I was 21, been addicted to drugs twice, 4 years on benefits, delivered pizza at 31? Or do you want Brad Burton, the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, the 4-time best-selling author, the founder of 4 Network and UK's largest joined-up business network prior to the pandemic? But listen, 2 sides of the same coin, Ashley. And I think, if you go back far enough to anyone's life, you're going to find something questionable. The difference is I'm stupid enough to share it.
Brilliant. I knew this was going to be cracking. You've done this before, haven't you? I got some comments coming in. Aaron missed the song. Sorry about that, Aaron. It is available on replay, but this is clever. We're using StreamYard, Aaron, and in StreamYard you can pass things across the screen. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. If anyone's got any questions for the amazing Brad, then please bang them in the question and we will answer those. But so Brad, you're the #1 motivational speaker in the UK. You stood on the stage at Accountex a few years ago, not Accountex, Xerocom, and this year you and I went head to head on the Accountants stage. We were both on at the same time. I really wanted to see
I blame Caroline, quite frankly. She's got a full responsibility to take for that.
It's absolutely fine, because I hear that you've recorded it and you're going to be sharing that recording for those of us that couldn't go. But tell us a little bit about how you got on Accountex. Wasn't it amazing?
Genuinely, yes. What's funny about this is I seem to have completely accidentally, fell into the accountancy bucket. And whether that was Xerocom might well have been the sort of starter pistol for that. But Accountex last week, exceptional. There wasn't an empty seat in the room. It was exceptional. And what was great from a speaker perspective was the professionality, not only of the organization, but also of the smaller halls. There wasn't any deserts. Everyone had people there and everyone had standing room on there. They've done something pretty special. But the keynote was exceptional. I don't like watching myself. And you think, yeah, okay, trust me, I don't like watching myself present. And I've watched that twice. Accountex. I would suggest that is my best ever presentation ever. And I'm not just saying that like that. I swear to you, I got goosebumps. And I'm watching myself and I'm going, this guy's amazing. Then I realized I paused it. It's like 47 minutes. I paused it at 30 minutes to see how long does it go? 13 minutes. The amount of value. And I've been releasing little clips and I'm going to be releasing it on Friday. And big shout out to Peter, the team for Accountex, who filmed it. Sick camera setup. Honestly, it is genuinely one of those things that if I could give my children 1 hour of teaching, on my dying breath, it would be that. I'd say, watch this. It will focus you about the journey ahead.
No, it was brilliant. The little clips that I've seen were absolutely superb, and I haven't bumped into anyone yet that said, "Oh, Brad was rubbish." So that's awesome. So you fell into the, like the way you call it, accounting bucket. It's an amazing space. I've been here since 2007, and everybody else's perception of accountants and bookkeepers is they're grey and boring and stuff like that, but they're not, are they? There's some amazing superstars in this group, isn't there?
Yeah, yes, there is. I think that is an old version. I think that is the way that it used to be. I think it'd be difficult. When I started my business in 2004, that's exactly what accountants were and bookkeepers. I think the whole culture has changed now. I think the industry has changed. And actually, one of the things that we've realized is that people are people before the profession. You know, if I don't like you, Ashley, and you don't like me, it's going nowhere. And I think that what we've found now with the accountancy industry is that there has to be an element of likability. If the buyer doesn't like the seller, it's going nowhere. So by that whole thing has emboldened and kind of whipped up the industry. So I think that sort of grey, an accountant actually with confidence is looking at your shoes, not theirs. I think it's moved on, no question. And I believe these organizations have helped with that, the likes of Accountex, the likes of Xero and so forth. These organizations have helped lift and create the culture that this industry has.
No, absolutely. And I think the poor old accountants and bookkeepers are stuck in the middle, aren't they? They're getting all this legislation from one end and they're getting all the hassles from the clients in the other end. And they've got to adapt really, really quickly. If you, like you say, if you think back to 2004, there was accountants that didn't have computers. And here we are. Yeah. And here we are now. Accountants are doing, serious work on a mobile device.
But actually, I think also the other thing to understand here is that accountants of old didn't have to have a personality. And I'm not being rude there. I'm saying the whole world that we're in right now, which is what you teach with LinkedIn, there's this whole world where you have to be visible. You have to be visible. Until you reach a certain level, you've got no option. Certainly growing an accountancy, a small practice, you have no option to be visible, whether it's networking, online or off or whatever. You talk about legislation. I've got no idea because my accountancy firm, they deal with it, right? So this is the great thing about it is I have no idea about the legislation that you talk about. I have no idea. When we met last week, you was talking to me about some accountancy stuff. I said, Ashley, I don't know what you're talking about. You were saying these abbreviations. I have no idea. I've only just found out what a chartered accountant is. And I've been working with this industry for like 4 years. The amount of hoops and regulation that you guys have got to do. Oh my God. I didn't realize, I've got clients and I'm not going to name drop, but I've got some amazing high level accountant clients that I look after. And I didn't understand that. I did not understand because don't forget, I used to run this network for networking, 68,000 business networking meetings I've run. And I didn't understand the sheer wall of accreditation and stuff that you've got to do to be an accountant, an accredited accountant. I had no idea. And it's been really opened my eyes. This is not an industry where I just thought, charging that much and I get it now. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen, obviously been in the space for a while. I see posts of people when they've passed their exams. And the one that sticks in my mind is this lady's probably 4-year-old sat on a pile of books. And these were, stood by the wall. These are all the things that she would have had to have read and digested in order to take all the exams. And we forget that, don't we? And I think that's the thing.
It's interesting because, I always say if you can do the job, you're qualified, unless, of course, you're a chartered accountant, right? You need the qualifications or you're a brain surgeon or you're a thing. So, yeah, there's a lot of weight behind it. And like I say, I didn't understand it. As a punter who uses accountants, obviously, and have bookkeepers, what I will say is when I started my business off back in 2004, the first thing I did was got a bookkeeper and accountant, and I couldn't afford it. It was 1,500 quid a year, 1,500 quid a year, 120 pound a month or whatever it was. And this is a startup business. And I got an accountant and a bookkeeper, small business accountancy, it was called, over in Bridgewater in Somerset. Anyway, I got him. And the reason that I did that is because it gave me confidence. And that's what an accountant and a bookkeeper should recognize, that that's what you do. You're not just doing what you do, you're giving the business owner confidence that they can give you the bag full of receipts, old school, and it's handled. And that is what you're buying. People are buying insurance. People are buying assurance that you are going to do your thing, allowing me to do my thing. And I don't believe that I would have created a multi-million-pound business if I'd not allowed myself to be single-minded and focused on what I needed to do, while the accountant team and the bookkeepers did what they needed to do.
Yeah, no small business owner starts a business so they can do bookkeeping, do they?
True story, mate.
Yeah. So Aaron's just said that he was on the QuickBooks stand while you were doing your session. He said the energy coming from the stage next door was insane.
Aaron, can I apologise? There was some sort of situation that went on there, and it is on camera, and I don't know what went on. I, as a speaker, have a job to do, and that job is to entertain, inspire the audience. We have a walk on. When I come on, it's like, and we do it on purpose to get attention and to wake everyone up. And there was some complaints from the Kiwi stand there, and we realised, and I'm sorry for that, but we don't know that we're going to get complaints until we do the various things. But thank you so much, and it is on video, like I say. And also, I'll tell you what's lovely about this is QuickBooks, mainstay sponsor. This video, I promise you, and I mean it sincerely, is without question my finest hour, and I would even go as far as saying it surpasses Xerocom as a performance from my perspective. Truly groundbreaking, and I mean that.
We can't wait to see this. We really can't wait to see this. So Neil said, I agree with the personality topic. Why would I want to work with clients who I didn't like? Why would clients want to work with me if I don't like them? By having a consistent online presence, it's really helped to pre-qualify prospects for me. And Neil, you're doing some great things on LinkedIn. So that's awesome.
Neil's a neighbour of mine, literally 40 minutes away over in Western Superman. We've been in the same room, but we've never actually talked. He saw me speak at an event. Amazing.
It's funny. Neil's literally up the road from me as well. Nothing to complain about. It was brilliant. Such a hype moment. So we're really building up this video. So I cannot wait to see it in its entirety.
Hey, Ashley, let me tell you, it is like genuinely one of those things that I think Xerocom, where people were still talking about that to this day. Because I think, and I've got to take my hat off to Gary Turner, big shout out to him, is that he was the one who basically said, we need Brad on that second day. And I know there was an internal conversation because somebody, I'm not mentioning no names, at Accountex on the boat party came up to me and said, I was in the room when your name was put forward, and everyone went, and actually it was one of the smartest moves ever. And that, boys and girls, is why Gary Turner is Gary Turner, because he sees things that no other people do. So thank you, Gary, for your vote of confidence and giving me the shoe on into this industry.
I love that sharp intake of breath. So you're working with accountants at the moment. What challenges are you seeing accountants having at the moment, Brad?
Yeah, they lose themselves. You can become your identity in your business, that you are, your title and so forth. And if you imagine that what you do is when you start out, you've got this idea that you're doing it for your family and this, that, and the other, and you're starting a business off, and then all of a sudden, you're now doing it for your business and your family. And what I do is I manage to get that equilibrium back so that you're optimum in terms of from a family perspective and business. That's what I'm getting. Balance, genuine balance, financial balance, mental balance, business balance, relationship balance, happy balance, because that's what I believe success is. Success is not having a Lamborghini or a supercar, which I've had. That isn't what success is, I promise you, because it's just not. What success is being happy and content, and that's what I help people do. So yes, you can have, I've got people that I work with right now that I've got businesses way in excess of any kind of business that I've ever had. However, I don't know anyone who's as happy or as content as me, and that's what I bring to. That is something that eludes when you look at any director team and they've got all the profit and loss sheets and we go, yes, look, with fiscal policy and everything's amazing. We've made loads of money. How happy are you? How happy are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 zippity-doo-dah, zippity effing day, no swears, or 1 miserable. Where are you right now? Because I tell you something, if you think, let's say you're a 5, would you earn less money and go up? And if the answer is yes, okay, maybe, and you don't have to earn less money, they're not connected. But principally, if your money is there as a business and your happy is there, where's the line? Where's the line actually? And that's what I've managed to do. I help people find that line. And once they're happy, once they're content, if you then want to go and push, then we do that. But what I do is I get people happy, I get them content, and I work them to make the decisions that they want to make. But for whatever reason, they can't do it.
Absolutely amazing. So I went on safari to a foreign country, and where we ended up, in the wilderness and goodness knows what else. You see little kids playing at the side of the road in mud, no clothes on, and stuff like that. They're living in mud houses. Everyone is smiling. Everyone's happy. They're not caught up in this materialistic world that we live in. And you sort of like look at that and you think, my goodness, life can be simple.
Look, I like stuff. Okay, I like stuff. So I think some people go, oh yeah, I like stuff. I like fast car. I like all these things. But what I like more is peace of mind. Let me tell you a story. Going back to 2012, I had a nervous breakdown. I'm all right now, Twitch. I had a nervous breakdown. I had a multi-million-pound business. I remember walking my dog on a wonderful countryside canal, Tyson, Labradoodle. I remember walking him, crying. So what was that, 10 years ago, 11 years ago? So I'd been 39, crying. Crying, walking my dog, and it was just all the pressure was on. And I remember saying out loud, audibly to myself, I just want to feel normal. I just want to feel normal. Just want to feel normal. And this is what so many business owners have, and nobody talks about it. Everyone talks about mental health. That's the little the name of it. However, what I talk about is success. You see, so many business owners that have success, they're ill. All they have is their business. And it's dangerous because if your identity is wrapped up in your business, let me be quite clear, on March the 19th, 2020, my business, 5,000 business networking meetings across the UK every single year. Boris Johnson, please stay at home, no longer running that business. And if my business would have been £20 million business or a £200 million business, guess what? It would have been gone. And if my identity was wrapped up in me being that guy, Mr. Networking, and I'm no longer involved in it, then guess what? I'd be in a bad place. So by separating your identity, because this is what we do, because we put it all into being a business owner, which is what, we need to be all-consuming, but there comes a point when that all-consuming doubles back on itself. And what you've got to do is disconnect or detach yourself from your identity of your business and find yourself again. You find yourself, you find you're happy, you find your contentment, because I'm telling you, this is where people go wrong. They think, it's only because it's £1 million, I need to get £2 million business, and then that's where the happy is. And they've got themselves wrapped up in it. So by disconnecting yourself, it doesn't mean that it's ineffective. It means that you've got your life back. You get your life back, you get your business going to where it needs to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely superb. So we missed this one. Kirsty said it was the best talk at Accountex, so she obviously didn't see mine.
Kirsty, do me a favour, find me on LinkedIn and ping me your address. I'm going to send you a copy of this. Thank you so much, Kirsty. I appreciate it.
And Natalie said she has less money than when she was employed, but she is so much, and that's in capital letters, happier.
So I met Natalie at Zero Awards. She was one of the finalists there, only young. And I've got to say, I didn't start my business off till I was 31. I'm 50 now, 31. And I think Natalie's like 24 or something like that. Keep going, right? So what happens is you've got to get yourself from the short term. The short term is, I can make more money, you're getting employed, this, and no. Once you get out of the short term to the medium and long term, that's when the magic happens. And you are well on your way. So thank you, Natalie. Keep going.
Ian's come up with something interesting. Love this. Separate your identity. Being conscious of these thoughts is the tough part. And that's the thing, Brad. We're sat in a shared office, home office, wherever, and we're running our small business, our small accountancy firm, and it's just us. So how do we cope when all we're doing is telling ourselves that we're rubbish, we're not good enough, can't do this, we can't do that?
Yeah. So we're social animals. We need to belong. I suggest you go networking, even if it's just one day a week, or go for a walk. You have to, as Ian just said, then you've got to separate yourself, that conscious, you've got to be conscious of it and actually say to yourself, if I'm not enjoying this now, when will I enjoy it? In a year's time, in 2 years' time? When? You've got because otherwise what ends up happening, we get an autopilot and those minutes become hours, those hours become days, those days become weeks, those weeks become months, those months become years, those years become a life. And you've got to just take control of every single decision. And I'm telling you, right, it sounds like I'm selling something, I'm not. I'm going to put this video on Friday on LinkedIn. I urge you to watch this because I'm either bluffing, at which point people will tell me on LinkedIn, or I genuinely believe that this will fix so many people's problems completely free of charge. It will fix so many people's problems. And in doing that, being able to separate the identity. My identity was this. I am Brad Burton. I'm this, that, and the other. I play up to this UK's #1 motivational business speaker. And people say to me, how did you become the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, Brad? I just made a website. I said, I'm the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. The first person you have to convince of your brilliance is you. If I said to you, I am the greatest, I'm the greatest, which boxer am I referring to? Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. Well, there's a reason that we refer to Muhammad Ali 40, 50 years on as the greatest, is he referred to himself. So you've got to convince yourself. You have to convince yourself. And the only way that you can become a big business owner is by mentally becoming a big business owner. But there comes a point when you think that happy or success is more and more and more. It's not, as I've realized. I've got a much smaller business than I had. I had a team of 800 people. When I first started, it was just me. 19 years on, guess what? There's just me. But there's me that is happier, that has created a life that I could never dream possible. And not only that, I get to speak to people like you, Ashley. How cool is this?
You get to hang out and have lunch. That's super cool. You have absolutely made Natalie's day.
Yeah.
she's 32.
Natalie, well, you're doing something well there. Well, listen, if we talk about ages, boys and girls, I'm going to let you into a secret because I asked this over lunch. He's 57. 57.
Right.
Actually, he's 57.
Give it away now. Give it away. So what you're saying is I'm older than you.
Yes. Yes, and you have your hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Ashley, just one sentence. How have you managed to look so amazing at 57? Just one sentence.
Just one sentence. Being content. Being content. I haven't chased the fast women and the loose cars or anything else like that.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Move on.
I got married young. Okay, so I was married at 22. And we're still happily married. And I think it's doing that and having somebody that I can turn to whenever that's got my back and I've got her back, and being blessed with two amazing girls, and then living for that, not the flash cars.
Listen, and that goes back down to what you talked about before, which is, wherever the country was. And that happy that eludes so many people is right here. It's right here, but we think it's there. And what happens is you can then spend up hours looking at other practices and going, oh, yeah, somebody's younger than me, they've got a Lamborghini, and yeah, this stuff drives you crazy. Stop it. What you need to do is focus your time, your energy on your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoe says, hi. I don't know if you met Zoe. She's great fun. Pavel's saying internal happiness is key. And then I'm really not going to put the other two comments up. So Neil and Natalie are having a little tete-a-tete about the ages. So what's the top tip then that you can give our accountants and bookkeepers who are watching today, who are feeling a little out of sorts? Maybe they're thinking that they need to go and get a job and what have you.
So I'm going to share something which I do elaborate on the video, but I'm going to share it. I've been in business now 19 years of self-employment. I've never starved to death, not once. Have I had to use the Coinstar machine and go down the sofa for 2s and 1s? Yes. Have I had to send the check away without signing it? Yes. Have I had to borrow some money? Yes. Have I felt like a piece of shit? First swear word, yes. Have I had to deliver pizza to keep my business afloat? Yes. But if I'd not done any of these things, I wouldn't be here today. So recognize that you're not going to starve to death. And I'm going to give you a statistic. When I first started my business off, in the first 9 years, I wanted to quit 11 times. 11 times. So on average, 1.1 times per year. For the next 6 years, 0 times. Then the pandemic came along, 3 times. So this has been a really difficult time for everyone. And north is no longer north, south is no longer south, east is no longer east, and so forth. So you need to recognize that it's not just you. Everyone is blagging it, right? I know top sports people, world-class boxers, Dragons, and also pop stars, #1 album pop stars. And I talk to them in private, typical Brad in my brain, they're all blagging it. Every one of them's blagging it. Everyone's got self-doubt. Everyone feels an imposter. They're backstage waiting to go out, and Sky News is filming them, and they're terrified. But when they come out, they don't look terrified. When they sing, they don't look terrified. They're terrified. You're human. And once you realize that, it's a whole lot easier to get on with it. And when you feel sorry for yourself, ask yourself this question. Am I going to starve to death? No. Am I going to lose my home? No. Because what you're going to do is you're going to do what it takes. Worry achieves nothing. This is where people go wrong. They end up worrying. Oh, what happens? Stop it. Stop worrying, because worrying keeps you in the problem. Start putting that energy and that focus into a solution. Get a blank piece of paper and ask yourself this question right at the top. What does this make possible? I'm going to share something with you now. If I put a gun to your head and I said to you, I want you to double your sales in the next month, or you won't see next month, get strong, Manchester motivation. But if I did that, what would you do? What would you do? Oh, well, I'd bring me old clients. Why are you doing it now? You're doing it now because somewhere along the way, you're either too lazy or you're fearful. If I put a gun to your head, you would do all these things. Do it now. Whatever you're going to do it now. Have I got time to give a 30-second tip? This will get you.
Yeah. How long will that take?
30 seconds, right? So I want you to get a blank piece of paper, and I want you from memory to get a pen, and I want you to just write down all the people you know from memory. Steve, Ashley. I just want you to write them down from memory. Then I want you to get 3 pieces of blank piece of paper, and on that piece of paper with all the names on, I want you to write down H, W, or C, hot, warm, and cold, depending on your relationship. So Ashley and I, we met each other a few months ago, and we met each other. So I would suggest that our relationship is warm. We've got a warm relationship, okay? My wife is a hot relationship, okay? My best friend's a hot relationship. If I turned up at my best friend with a dead body in my boot, he would be more inclined than someone who's warm or cold to help me with a hacksaw and get rid of the body. Right? By example again. However, this is where you're going to find. So once you've got, and you transfer everyone that's hot onto another piece of paper and you ring them up. Remember what Ashley said before about you being in box room isolation, feeling sorry for yourself by ringing up the hot people and having a conversation. Hey Ashley, how you doing? Just thought I'd check in. How are you getting on, mate? Yeah, chat. Brilliant. Yeah, you're on the account. Say, listen, on your travels, if you know anyone that would be interested, can you? All right, you know someone, right? Can I name it? Mate, that's how I got my first ever clients. My 2 clients was using that methodology. I came up with that 19 years ago. And to this day, the clients still stick with me 19 years on.
Classic. That is absolutely priceless information. How many people are going to go and do that right now? I love that. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. We're almost out of time, buddy.
But you know what? Life's like that, Ashley. We've got 4 minutes left, mate. And one day, we're only going to have 4 minutes left in our life. And this is the point that I make on that video, and I want you to watch it. We spend so much of this recognizing, worrying about tomorrow. Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring. So stop it. Nobody has a crystal ball. I do. I have a crystal ball. And if you're going to imagine a future, imagine a positive one. A positive mindset won't solve all your problems. It won't. But a negative one will give you more. Keep positive, people. We're going to get through this, whatever this is.
You are absolute genius. So have you got time to tell us the best story of how you've helped an accountant or a bookkeeper?
Yeah, I've got 2 divorces under my belt, and I mean that. These are people that you may or may not, but you will know. Everyone knows. I'm working with 7 accountants at the moment that are named. That actually, if I've name dropped them, you go, what? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Client confidentiality, they might come out, or you ask people, they'll know about me. But I give people belief to do the decisions that they want to. We have been conditioned that business, top vertical markets and hedge funds, and we need to get property portfolios, not all this sort of stuff about business. Like, before any of this, before you was given all this about what you should be in life and business, before you did all this, you're a human being. And that's what I do. I get you back to being a human being about what you want, not what society, not what the industry tells you should be, but what you want to be. And actually, your business should support what you want to be, not the other way around. So I've got lots of success stories. I've got lots of success stories about people making more money. So fucking what? I like genuinely, so what? But I've got people that that I work with right now that have changed their lives. And that to me is more important than any monetary gain that anyone's got. And all my guys, they're, in order to hire me, they're doing decent money. But it's about your life. It's about changing your life, changing your thinking. You'll change your entire world, because we are what we think, we are what we eat, we are what we see, we are what we hear. If you're hearing all negativity, and one final tip I'd say on this one, I've not watched the news for 2 years. I've got no idea. Somebody asked me yesterday, what do you think, should I lower my prices because of all this talk about recession? I went, what recession? What, don't you know? I said, I've got no idea what you're on about. I've not watched the news for 2 years. Do yourself a favor. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to be uninformed and happy than informed and miserable.
I've got a true story to tell you about recession. When I started my first sales job, so this was back in the 90s. So before my daughter was even born, so 1991. And so I was working as a sales rep for an insurance company. And I was going out, my boss said, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I did exactly what he said, and the business came in. And there was people in the office, and one guy came up to me and said, how on earth are you writing all this business? I said, well, he's told me to do this, he's told me to do that, and he's told me to do that. And he said, yeah, but how? There's a recession. and literally, I'd come straight from being a chef. I turned around to him and said, what's a recession? What does that mean?
Oh, I love that.
And because I didn't know, it was just priceless.
Can I just say something on that basis, right? Is that the same goes for me as a speaker. I didn't know you couldn't swear on stage. I didn't know that you had to wear a 3-piece suit and a pocket watch. I didn't get that memo. And I used a lot of naivety. And once that naivety is gone, you can't get it back. you know, and you can't be a motivational speaker. You look like a drug dealer. I'm not, by the way, anymore. But we can all change, and that's what this has been about, people.
Brad, you've been absolutely awesome. I've just got one. I always end with one last question. The question is, when you were at primary school, all right, running around being a kid, what did you want to be when you left school?
A Ford car salesman. So this was 1980, 81, 82, I was 8 or 9. And in the TV adverts, they had a come into the Ford garage and get yourself a brochure about the Sierra or thing. So me and my friend Jimmy Green went over to Cheetham Hill to the Ford garage, 8, 9 years old. And we went there, hello, with like our poshest voice, you know, 9-year-olds. And we got these brochures. And I remember looking at the guys with the suits on and this, that, and the nice cars. Ford, a car salesman. That's what I wanted to be. And I'm glad that is one of my dreams that I never realised.
No, never mind. Hey, you've done well for a guy who wanted to be a car salesman. So well done. Thank you so much for being on my show today. This is going to be a podcast as well. So if anyone wants to get hold of you, what's the best way of getting hold of you so they can work with you?
Yeah, work with Brad.biz, B-I-Z, work with Brad.biz. I mean, like, and also, Ashley's taught me this, go to bradburton.biz/1515 if you want to book a free 15-minute call, no sales pitch. So if you've got a problem and I can fix it in 15 minutes, I will do, I promise you, free of charge.
So what happens in this 15 minutes then, Brad?
You get their ears burnt off, Brad style.
Perfect. I love it. Brad, you've been an absolute star. Thank you to everybody for all the amazing comments. We will be back next week. And thank you so much. You take care.
You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never